in their own kingdom, right? I lost my spot. Let me find my spot. Uh, I'll read it. It says, I have no purpose directly or indirectly to interfere with the institution of slavery in the states where it exists. I believe I have no lawful right to do so, and I have no inclination to do so. It was only when Lincoln was losing the war, the Civil War, that he issued the Emancipation Proclamation where he proclaimed that slaves in the nations of the Confederate States were free. Okay? He said, to pay for the Civil War on the 5th of August, 1861, Congress passed the first national income tax. So before then, there was no income tax. Okay? It was no income tax. And what Lincoln wanted to do was they wanted to get the resources that the South had. Okay? They wanted to get the resources that the South had, and they wanted to put higher taxes on the goods in the South, and that would cause people to things to cost more, and people will be more impoverished. Okay, because things would be so high. Okay, that's what they wanted to do. That's the Morrill tax. Okay, and it says to pay for the Civil War on the 5th of August 1861, Congress passed the first national income tax. And by the 21st of that month, the first paper currency was issued. Okay, Lincoln said the money power prey up. He's talking about the banksters. It said Lincoln said the money powers prey upon a nation in a time of peace and conspire against it in the time of an adversity. Right? More selfish than adversity. The banking powers are more despotic, and despotic means tyrannical, than a monarchy. More insolent, and that means disrespectful, than autocracy. More selfish than the bureaucracy. They denounce as public enemies all who question their methods or throw light upon their crimes. I have two great enemies, the Southern Army in the front of me and the bankers in the rear. Of the two, the one at my rear is my greatest foe. So he was concerned about the banksters. That's what he was concerned about. He wasn't concerned about slavery. So when you go into the history of the Civil War, it was not, slavery was not the main topic. It was taxes and the banksters. That's what the main topic was during that time. And these stupid Americans don't even know their own history because they've been in that food system. Okay? They don't teach you that. Okay? Abraham Springfield was not a hero. Okay? And this it says corporations have been enthroned in an era of corruption in high places will follow. The money powers of the country will endeavor to prolong its region by working upon the prejudice of the people until the wealth is aggregated. Aggregated meaning combined in the hands of a few, and the republic is destroyed. In February 1861, Congress established another national banking system. The banksters were intending to charge between 24% and 36% interest rate for money to finance the war. To avoid the interest, Lincoln ordered the printing of 450 million in banknotes guaranteed by the U.S. government. The government should create, issue, and circulate all the currency. Creating and issuing money is the supreme prerogative of the government, and it is greatest creative opportunity, and it is greatest creative opportunity. Adopting these principles will save the taxpayer immense sums of interest, and money will cease to be the master and become the servant of humanity. The notes are called greenbacks, and effective immediately the interest affected immediately the interest the private banks charge on notes they issued. On April 9, 1865, following Lincoln's brutal, immoral, and cruel scorched earth war policy, Lee surrendered at Appomattox, right? Johnson's army surrendered on April 26, 1865. And Appomattox, that's in central Virginia. Okay. On April 14, 1865, Lincoln was assassinated, and Congress revoked the Greenback Law and enacted in its place the National Bank Act, supporting privately owned national banks. So after Abraham Springfield was assassinated, they invoked them being able to create greenbacks without interest, and created the National Privately Owned Bank. And that right there, when you borrow money from it, which is the Federal Reserve, now you have interest on that money, and you become a debt slave. So this is a debt system, man. It's set up and designed like that to keep you in debt. The associates of the President Lincoln assassin were, according to many, on the payroll of the Rothschilds. The nation was thrown into a state of constant debt, paying interest to the bankers who created cash. More U.S. citizens died from Lincoln's war than all the wars combined up to, but not including the Bush Wars, right? Lincoln was arguably one of the most dishonest and disastrous presidents this nation has seen, running tied perhaps with Franklin Delaware Roosevelt and George W. Bush. The federal government naturally gives Lincoln great importance because it was Lincoln who established large central federal government positions paid for by taxing the people. State-run schools go as far as to teach students that Abraham Lincoln was an honest hero. And they teach that to Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, which is Jake. And that's a lie, man. And Jake, since these Edomites are in power, Jake take or receive anything they say as if it's the truth, man. which Jake don't do research. But this is the end of the video, and I like to say, Shalom, stay strong, and search the